I am going to surprise one of you. No, I'm not going to give you any money. Not that kind of surprise. But I want to interview Marianne.
Oh boy.
She's good. She rolled with it. And so, Marianne, share with us your relationship with the lady, briefly, Darby.
I grew up not in a good home. I was 6 or 7, living in a trailer park with my mother. My dad was an alcoholic, and he was never around, and when he was constantly beating on my mom. So it was me and my older sister and my older brother and my younger sister and my mom. And like I said, we were living in a trailer park, and the trailer wasn't really well. And my mom was, a dancer, so she was taking care of 4 kids by herself. And we had a lot of babysitters. And we were hanging out with some of the kids in the neighborhood, and their parents were babysitting us. And the kids went to church, and they asked me and my older sister if we wanted to go to church with them. And we didn't know what church was, but we're like, yeah, we'll go, they're getting dressed up, we think it's cool, so we're getting dressed up. And this lady, her name is Darlene, she came and picked us up, and I can still remember seeing her face, even being that young. Like, she was chubby, but she had this beautiful smile. And we went to church, and of course we loved it. We got candy, and at this time we didn't really understand, but we got candy, and she seemed really loving, and she cared, and so we started going every Sunday. And we got to be about, I'm going to say 10, 11. We were constantly riding on the church van with her, going to church, growing in the Lord, and learning and bringing other kids to church. And the church that we were at, there was a lot of things going on in the church that, of course, as kids, we didn't understand. And so she decided that she was going to quit the band ministry for that church. And I know it devastated her, because that was her life. She could have kids, but she was never married. She felt like the Lord would bring her a man when the time was right. If not, then she was married to God. She was married to Jesus, and that was her husband, and she was okay with that. So when she had to stop the band ministry, it was really hard on her. And so me and my sister, we kept calling her. Even though she quit the band ministry, we kept calling her every week. Can you come get us? Can you come get us? Can you come get us? So she literally would come and we would call Wednesdays too. We would call Wednesdays, we would call Sundays, and she would come get us, and we ended up being like her children. And she would take care of us, and because like I said, we didn't have a really good home, and we didn't have a stable family, and she was our stability. So she would come get us every Wednesday, every Sunday. Then it started where we were staying with her a lot and doing revival and just being a part of the church. And as we got older, she really became like a mother to me. My sister too, but more me. So she was always there for me when I felt like I would fall. She always was encouraging. If we had a question and we didn't understand, she'd always tell us to pray about it. She'd always tell us the answers in the Bible. They were Pentecostal, so they were really strict when it came to the Bible. But we didn't, we lived in the world, but she always told us we were of the world. And with us, we lived in a worldly home, but we went to a Christian church, something that had foundation. So I think that with her always planted that seed inside of me for the Lord. And she taught me a lot. And I don't think that if I didn't have her in my life, I probably wouldn't have known the Lord. And as I got older, you know, I had kids and I was in a really bad place. Seemed like I was falling in the same footsteps as my mother. And I called her and she's like, I'm coming to get you. And she came and got me. She lived in Columbus. I was living in Lorraine. She came all the way to Lorraine and got me and picked me up and my 3 kids. And she loved them just as much as she loved me, as if she was their grandmother. She took care of them. You know, like I said, she was Pentecostal, so she's like, Marianne, you know, I don't care what you do as along the lines of like your hair and pants and things like that. She's like, but the way I believe, your kids will believe the same way. So they weren't allowed to cut their hair. They weren't allowed to wear pants. We went to church every Wednesday, every Sunday, revival. They were in church choir. She treated them just as she treated us as kids. And I had got married. I had met somebody when I was in Lorraine, and we were together for some years, and I thought he was gonna change, and he didn't, but she's like, you know, he can't live with us. You guys have to be married before he can live with us, or even, you know, be a man and get something for you guys. So he came up and, you know, he tried or whatever. We ended up getting married and he started living with us, and months went on. He started stealing from her, and I felt so bad and hurt within myself. I'm like, I had to get him away from her. So I brought him up here and we stayed with my sister. And me and him ended up splitting up. And I had called her and I had told her about it, and she was like, you know, I don't believe that he was the right person for you. I loved you. I let you make your decision, you know, but I know the Lord told me he was not right for you. And, you know, I do believe that to this day, he was not. And I was supposed to go see her because I hadn't seen her since all of that had happened. And my sister had caught a DUI, so I had to take care of my 2 nephews plus my kids, so I wasn't able to go see her. And me and her were texting that morning, and we got into an argument. And later on that day, I got a text and a call that she had died the same day that we got into the argument. So that was really hard on me, just because, you know, she was definitely like my mother. The Lord had brought her to me when, you know, as a lot of children in this world, we don't have that spiritual guidance, and she definitely was that person that grounded me, especially, and gave me that foundation with the Lord. So, like, it still hurts to this day, but I know she's with the Lord. I know she's happy. But the woman meant everything to me. So.
Well, we want to fast forward to today. So we're driving to church this morning, and I said, oh, I got to drop you off, Marianne, you and John, and I got to go pick up Selena. And she says, you know, if you had a van, I could pick up some of these kids. I thought, you know what, Marianne, that is the best news I have heard. And so she is maybe taking the baton. We'll see if it works with insurance and time and all that, but her heart is in the right place. And I just wanted to say thank you, Lord, for that. And thank you for Darlene